On the mountains of Kurdistan between Iraq, Iran and Turkey, it snows for most of the winter. And while the routes are unsuitable for cars, the traffic on horseback remains busy for the black market. These are Iranian Kurd smugglers heading over into Iraqi Kurdistan to pick up their orders for the day. This is the alcohol smuggling camp on the border between the Kurdistan region of Iraq and Iran. Smuggling is a tradition here. They did it for centuries. This is the way they survive. Omar Muhammad Rasul is the manager of the camp. I wanted to know what sort of alcohol he was trading in.
لا دولة أوروبية كان را دي بعام ديت إيران ألي راب الله بدك تسيبه إيراني هو الكولي جنسي الكولي دقلا إيران دولة إسلامية قاسة كده دنيا أخوي أنا توان ساكن.
But although Iraq is also a Muslim country, they do not have the same restrictions on alcohol. And so as an Iraqi Kurd, Omar is free to conduct as much business as he pleases. So this is coming from Sweden and it costs $8 here. By the time it makes it to Iran, it will be $20. This is Rosso di Toscana, Fratelli Bellini. It is the red wine of Tuscany from Italy. So they have also Buon Gusto over there in Iran. They know what to choose. This is French cognac. You really can get anything you want in this place. This is a Kurdish duty-free. I'm just asking for champagne. He says, yes, we have champagne as well. The more dangerous side of the business is carried out by these fellow Kurds. They are from the Iranian side of the border and are here preparing for the next daily load.
The buff and the beautiful have come out to play. New York City is celebrating its Gay Pride Week, and more than 7,000 men are swaying and sweating to the beat. Some conservative Christians think this is a sea of sin. They reject the theory that people are born gay, believing instead that homosexualities are natural, preventable, and curable.
I believe that men and women fit together. This and this, it works. These two things and these two things, they just don't fit. So natural law shows us that men and women work and fit together naturally and beautifully. And two men and two women, it's just incomplete. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Come on in.
Richard Cohen is one of America's leading conversion therapists.
Exercise?
Inside his small suburban office, a transformation is underway.
So I've asked you to do the inner child workbook in order to get in touch with that little boy inside that you used to be.
Lee Brundage is gay, but is having his sexuality reoriented.
This is to help you externalize, express feelings that are trapped in your body, to make you a more powerful man.
There are more than 100 conversion clinics in the United States. Richard Cohen uses a variety of techniques to knock the homosexuality out of his clients.
Lee!
Sikuweza kumlaumu niliyemuuzia, sikuweza kumlaumu aliyenibaka, sikuweza kumlaumu aliyenipeleka gerezani. Yani sikuweza kumlaumu yote, yani lawama zote. Niliona chanzo kikubwa mimi ni babangu mzazi. Chungu, furaha. kuwa superstar kama Zidane au Ronaldinho au Ronaldo, kuja kuwa mchezaji mzuri sana yani wa kimataifa. Naona la sana. Unapokwenda pale kwa mfano hospitali kwenda kuchukua dawa, nakuta watu hivi. Sasa sema Mungu wangu, hao kweli wana ukimwi hao. Sasa na mimi hapo ndo naanza kujiamini. Kumbe na mimi nimo. Lakini kwa sababu nishaje kumuuliza na daktari mara mbili mara tatu ananiambia unao kweli, lakini ukiishi katika misingi hii utakuwa na muda mwingi sana wa kuishi.
Uwanja wa Fisi huko Dar es Salaam, kama unafika Manzese ukishuka darajani unafuata barabara inayoenda sokoni Tandale, utafika barabara wanakouza samaki. Basi unafuata barabara hiyo, ingia huko mbele ndio utakuta uwanja mkubwa tu.
Nimeishi hapa kwa muda wa miaka 7. Ni eneo la hatari, ni eneo ambalo linasikitisha, ni eneo ambalo linatisha. Ningependa kuishi au serikali kwa eneo la uwanja wa Fisi livunjwe.
Ninaamka ninapiga mswaki, kisha naenda kubefu kuweka mwili safi, narudi ghetto nafungua kabati, nachukua
May 2006, Johannesburg High Court. Tens of thousands turn out in support of Jacob Zuma. When he's acquitted of rape, the scenes of celebration are extraordinary. Not guilty of rape, but he is still facing court, this time to answer charges of corruption.
Tell me about that song, Mshinawa, Mshinawa.
It's a nice song. It's a song that made us as soldiers to be really enthused and be rejuvenated.
The rape case was ugly. Zuma was accused of forcing himself on the 31-year-old daughter of an old friend while she was visiting the family home.
Zuma never raped anybody. They raped Zuma.
الجيش البريطاني هو لم يقصد أن يسبب الفوضى.
The British did not mean to create a mess here in Basra. The chaos came from the way they set up the security forces. They didn't do it correctly. The recruits for the police were chosen by political parties, which was wrong. Then the militias and political parties interfered with security services. Thousands of weapons and police vehicles were given by the British to the wrong people. Even civilians received handguns. There's so much work to be done here.
Basra isn't a safe place to be right now if you're a woman. This is just some of the gruesome evidence that sits inside the computer of the man the Iraqi government has placed in charge of the Basra police now that the British have gone. Major General Jalil Khalaf is the first high-ranking official to speak out against the wave of killings. Graffiti on a wall in Basra now warns women to dress modestly or there'll be consequences. In the eyes of the killers, any woman is acting immorally if she disregards an extreme vision of Islamic propriety.
This is a very serious issue. It's terrifying. When I came to Basra, I looked at this and found out that over 40 women had been murdered, and the police record showed that the perpetrators were unknown.
By speaking out, the Major General is taking a risk. But then he's no stranger to violence himself. Since he's been in charge, he's survived no fewer than 20 assassination attempts by militias.
لا أنا بالنسبة للخوف هذا كلمة شلتها من قاموسي.
Fear is not a word in my vocabulary, but I do feel a great sense of responsibility here. Every time a woman or child is murdered in Basra, I feel a sense of personal guilt because I haven't been able to do my job properly and protect them.
This terrifying picture of a civil society falling apart is confirmed by a 30-year-old lawyer who spoke to us anonymously on the telephone from Basra. Before the war, she says, we weren't scared to go out or worried about whether we should wear makeup or not.
مثل ما تعرفون إنه هذه الميليشيات
The militias consider the Allied forces an occupying force, and anyone who works with them is a traitor and deserves to die. There's no discussion about this, whether you're a translator or a cleaner. I'm going to fall into their hands. It's only a matter of time. If I don't leave Iraq, I'm a dead man. They're going to find me.
He heard about the British government's promise of 500 visas for former British Army employees.
أنا سمعت مثل هذا الخبر وبالبداية كان جدا مفرح لنا لأن حسينا ببادرة أمل جديدة خلاص.
I heard the news about the visas and it made me very happy. It brought hope for a new life and future. We thought the Brits have finally started to look after us, just like we looked after them when they were with us. But in practice, on the ground, this law isn't being implemented yet. We're asking when they're planning to implement the law. They say we should wait a while, get our papers ready, apply, and then they need to study the cases and eventually decide whether to accept or reject.
Iraqi police and soldiers now patrol the streets of Basra. But the militias are the real power, heavily armed and spreading a quiet terror. Our cameraman was taken to see a top commander of the Mahdi army, the Shia militia that's the most powerful force in Basra.
Basra can't be ruled by force. There are too many entities fighting for power. Even the British didn't manage to control Basra by force, so they fled in fear to their base at the airport. Basra needs a vision.
His group, he claims, is almost an alternative government, offering protection and order. He mocks official corruption.
The first people to combat smuggling were the men of Basra, not the government. They took charge after the fall of Saddam, when there was no government.
The Carteret people are at war with the sea. The biggest island, Han, is less than a kilometre long and ringed with broken sea walls. The islanders built rock and clam barriers in a futile effort to hold back the rising seas. Island chairman Andreas Rubin's ancestors arrived here centuries ago, but his own children will be the last of the family to be born here.
We are right where my grandfather's house was, and the shorelines was out from my grandfather's house, was out about 18 meters.
So the shoreline used to be another 18
meters.
18 to 20 meters
right,
out there.
Yeah. And out there was coconut trees and some other food gardens.
Abu Haytham relocated this successful fish restaurant from war-torn Baghdad to Amman, Jordan 2 years ago. With his wood-fired ovens and special sauce, he's giving Jordanians their fish the Iraqi way. But he's given up on his own country.
اللي تسمعوه نحن هسه قاعدين انا وانتي واحد بالألف ما يصير بالبلد. ليش؟
Abu Haytham fled Iraq because he feared kidnap and blackmail.
بلد تايهه تعالي جيبي مسدس هيك وطلعي وقتلي 50 واحد ما حد يقول لي شنو ليش بدها تقتل؟ ماكو نظام ماكو قانون.
He's not short of Iraqi customers, and all of them have their own story of the horrors they've escaped. But these people, who can still afford to dine out in Amman, are the lucky ones. Jordan is now home to more than 700,000 Iraqis. In neighbouring Syria, there are over 1 million. But there are no refugee camps. Instead, whole families are crammed into tiny dwellings throughout poor areas like this. With nowhere else to go, these people are here to stay.
Jordan is a country of 5.5 million people. So the introduction of 700,000 people over a period of 4 years is similar to introducing, I don't know, 8 or 9 million people to a country of 60 million in Europe or elsewhere.
Sabiha Falifal and her family have been living in this dingy apartment for almost 2 years. Her family manages to eat fairly well, but only because Sabiha buys second-rate market produce. This morning she tried to find cheap potatoes for lunch.
Nag-umpisa ako magpapako 1986 pa. Yung pinakauna ko yun. Sa ngayon, pang 20 taon ko na ito.
You can see by their appearance, no, they come mostly from the poor areas, no, and because they are covered, no, we do not see them really drunkards or even drug addicts to this. Those who are in the lower group of society, they are the ones who do this, the lower class. Just the same, no, there is no real change, inner change. It becomes only something that is external.
Nung nagsimula ako sa pagpapako, bali 19 years old ako. Pagkatapos, nung unang nagpenitensya ako, ayaw man akong ipako dito sa Kalbaryo. Tapos gusto nila, kukuha muna akong kasulatan sa mga magulang ko. Kasi pinakabata ako sa lahat ng nagpipinitensya.
yo creo que no están enojados, digamos. Solo que están, digamos, no están, digamos, hablando, porque no están hablando. Están hablando, digamos, de que tenemos que, digamos, convivir con la naturaleza y no haga más industria, no haga más contaminaciones. Entendemos el mundo así, digamos, de no contaminar, podemos todavía sobrevivir un tiempito más.
On the arid western side of the Andes mountain range, snow and ice mean water, and water is life. Now this icy realm is melting before their very eyes.
Que ainda se dais para mí ante Dios nuestro Señor. Qué grande es el sol que nos acompañó en una parte de la subida. Y qué altura. ¿No? ¿Saben yo cómo hemos subido? ¡Oh, Dios! ¡Qué grande eres tú! ¡Oh, Dios! Del Espíritu Santo. Amén.
But their prayers remain unanswered. The Aymara call this place Chacaltaya, meaning cold road. In modern times, Bolivians proudly boasted that this glacier, at nearly 5,500 meters, was the world's highest ski run. But no longer. These days, it looks more like a resort on the moon.
Rick Neal, 32, is a former officer of the police's special unit. We are shown around the place, but he keeps a wary eye on us. These plane cabins enable his troops to simulate hostage takings. In terms of security, Blackwater offers a wide range of options. These dogs are trained to find explosives. It's a huge business here in Iraq, since people are killed through the use of booby-trapped cars, using substances like this one.
This is enough C4 to take off this whole rear end of this car.
In Baghdad is
very common, very common. Syntax, but they put it, a lot of times they put it inside the engine compartment to hide it, and they fill the inside of the car up with other munitions to make a big explosion.
We should be much, yeah.
With remote or with the driver.
Surprise! Not far away, we uncover some military forces in uniforms, genuine ones being trained. 35,000 men are trained every single year by Blackwater. Rick is not chatty when it comes to speaking about the men being trained today.
These are personnel from the United States military. They're out here doing some training. They've gone through a training package. They're in that community. I'm not going to say exactly who they are or who they're associated with, but they're in that community. Yes.
One thing is for sure, some elite troops belonging to the American Army are being trained by the private company Blackwater, and Rick is pretty proud of it.
Why do they need us to teach them that?
Yeah.
Right now, I think the biggest thing is that over the years, for whatever reason, the military has lost the elite, whether they've just lost the numbers to be able to provide that because they don't have enough people to do it because they've got so many people deployed or doing other things.